Hello everybody, my name is Jebdev and this is going to be something interesting. This is going to be a Phasmophobia guide for beginners. There's not going to be a lot of detailed explanations, this is just going to be all guff, no fluff. We're going to be talking about the cursed possessions and the ghost types. First, the cursed possessions. Important to note, cursed possessions cost sanity to use. If you break it, they will trigger a cursed hunt, which is a hunt that lasts longer. You cannot use them outside the map. Starting with the mirror. The mirror will reveal the ghost room. It costs 7.25% sanity a second to use. However, though, if you flick it up and then immediately put it down, it costs a bare minimum of 20, so it's better to hold it for a couple seconds as opposed to immediately pull it up and down. Next up, Voodoo Doll. 5% sanity to pull a pin, 10% if you get the heart. If you get the heart pin, will pull in and trigger a cursed hunt. It will force an interaction out of the ghost. Next up, Music Box. It will make the ghost sing. If you bring it to the ghost and you place it down, it will trigger an event, and the ghost will walk there so you can take an easy ghost photo, and it will hunt on top of that. It takes 2.25% sanity when you're in range of the music, and in general, it's just very buggy and not advised to use it. Speaking of not advised to use, I don't have the summoning circle. It has like 8 or so candles in which it takes 16% sanity to light each candle. Upon lighting all the candles, it will summon the ghost in the middle for an easy ghost photo, and it will hunt from that location. Next up, the Ouija board. The Ouija board has a bunch of questions you can ask, such as, how old are you and Marco Polo? However, there's only two real questions which take 50% sanity. First one, where are you? It'll tell you the exact location of the ghost. The second one, where's the bone? It tells you where the bone is. Make sure you say goodbye before leaving, otherwise the board will break and a cursed hunt will start. Next up, the tarot cards. Every single card has a different effect. The rarest card is the Hanged Man at 1%. It will instantly kill you. The High Priestess has a 2% chance, which is a revive. The Fool is a bait, so if you pull a High Priestess, it has a chance to turn into the Fool, which does nothing. Using the tarot cards during the hunt will cause them all to be fools, so don't use them during the hunt. The Devil will force a ghost event. Death will force a hunt. Hermit will lock the ghost in a room for a minute. Wheel of Fortune. If it fades into green smoke, you gain 25% sanity. If it fades into red, lose 25%. Sun sets you to 100% sanity. Moon sets you to 0. And the Tower is supposed to force an interaction, but it's bugged. Next up, the Monkey Paw. You make a wish, but it distorts your wish a little bit. Next, so all the wishes. I wish to see the ghost. It will do an event, but you're blinded. I wish for activity. It will increase the activity of the ghost for a minute, but it will destroy the breaker and lock the door. I wish to trap the ghost. It will trap the ghost and you in a room. If you can't be locked, after a minute, ghost will hunt. I wish to be sane. Everyone gets set to 50 sanity, the ghost room change, and your sanity drain will be increased to 2 times. I wish to be safe. Unlocks the closest hiding spot. It will break the room light, and the ghost will always track you. I wish to leave. The front door will be unlocked. You will be slightly blinded and frozen in place for a couple seconds. I wish to revive my friend. Revive person, but you have a 50% chance to be killed. I wish for knowledge. Will trigger a hunt close to you. You will be locked in place, blinded, and deafened, but you will have an evidence ruled out. And weather. For a small sanity charge, you can change the weather. Generally speaking, the summoning circle and the music box are the worst cursed possessions. The monkey paw is arguably the best, along with the haunted mirror, and the tarot cards are just a big gamble. So, those are all the cursed possessions. Next up, the ghosts. Starting with the spirit. The spirit has no weaknesses or strength. Nothing goes on about it. The only way you can test for a spirit reliably is when you smudge a spirit, it will not hunt for 3 minutes. Next up, the Wraith. The Wraith will have a chance to teleport to you and leave an EMF2. So if you're walking around and suddenly you get a lot of EMF2 spikes and you set up a motion sensor in the hallway and you see it doesn't go off, then you know you're dealing with a Wraith. Or you can place salt, and if it doesn't step in the salt during a hunt or whatever, you're dealing with a Wraith. Next up, Phantom. It will always walk to you and leave EMF2. So if you notice a motion sensor go off, unlike Wraith, you're probably dealing with a Phantom. It will blink slower during a hunt. So what that means, it won't be as visible during a hunt. And if you take a photo of it for a ghost event, it will disappear. You see that, you're dealing with a Phantom. Next up, poltergeist. Wicked crazy throws. You will know if it's a poltergeist throw. And it will take a 2% sanity per throw. Next up, the Banshee. If you're playing multiplayer, the Banshee will pick a target, and it will exclusively hunt that target. There is a small chance, if you're using the parabolic mic, a 30% chance, for it to do a special scream. And if it does a singing event, you will take a 25% sanity deduction from it. Next up, the Djinn. If close, your sanity will drop by 25%. It will leave an EMF2 on breaker when doing its ability. It will move faster when it's looking at you. And it will never turn off the breaker. So if the ghost turns off the breaker, it's not a Djinn. Next up, the Mare. Mare can't turn lights on. It will hunt at 60% if in the dark, 40% in the light. It will have a chance to instantly turn off a switch. It will break lights more often, and it roams if lights are on. So if you have a lot of lights and it keeps turning all the lights off, you might be dealing with a Mare. Next up, the Revenant. Extremely slow when it sees no one during a hunt. Extremely fast when it sees you. Revenants will be fast up until the point where it last sees you. If it sees nobody else, it will slow back down. If it sees someone, it will continue maintaining its high speed. Shade. Can't hunt until 35% average sanity. Higher chance to be a shadow during events. Can't do events at 100% sanity. Can't do anything with a person in the ghost room. So if it's been like 30 minutes or something, the ghost hasn't done anything, you're probably dealing with a shade. Demon. Can hunt at any sanity. Natural hunts at 70% sanity. 20 seconds between hunts. Smudged for 60 seconds. So if you smudge the ghost and it hunts after 60 seconds, it might be a demon. Crucifix ranges are massively increased. So if you place your crucifix in a very weird spot and it's still used, you're probably dealing with a demon. Right now, Ure will drain sanity by 10% during ghost events and will rapidly close the door upon opening it. Smudging it makes it unable to leave the ghost room. It's the worst ghost in the entire game. Oni will do ghost events more frequently. It can't do the airball ghost event. It will have a 20% sanity drop from ghost events. And unlike the Phantom, Onis will be almost exclusively seeable during hunts. Yokai. If your sanity is below 80%, it will hunt if it hears you. The yokai you have to be extremely close to for it to actually be able to detect your voice and for it to see you. Hantu. If the room is cold, it will be incredibly fast. It cannot turn on the breaker. It will never speed up during a hunt. It will try to turn the breaker off more. And if it's warm, a warm temp, it will move slow. And freezing temperatures is fixed evidence when you have a Hantu. So if you're playing on Nightmare or Insanity and you're dealing with a Hantu, you will always get freezing evidence. Goryo. Dots is fixed. It will never be changing the ghost room. And in order to see dots, you must be looking through a video camera and you must be making sure you're not in the ghost room with it. Next up, Onryo. Or Myling, sorry. Myling. It will basically make more parabolic mic sounds, and it's generally quieter than most ghosts. Now on the Onryo. The Onryo has the ability where candles will work as a crucifix, and it can start a hunt after 3 candle blowouts, and it can't hunt with candle nearby. The way to test for Onryo is to set up a candle on top of a crucifix. If it blows the candle out 3 times and uses the crucifix immediately after, it's an Onryo. If it uses the crucifix before or blows out the candle 3 times and doesn't use a crucifix, it's not an Onryo. Next up, the twins. The twins are technically 2 ghosts. There's technically only one. You have a chance of 2 interactions at the same time. If you have the activity chart, it will change without plateauing. Can either hunt from the ghost room or the last place of interaction. The main ghost is slower, the decoy is faster. So if you're hiding and the ghost sounds fast and then suddenly slows down, you're dealing with twins. Raiju. It is based on player-based electronics. So lights in the house and car alarms do not affect the Raiju, but flashlights and EMF readers do. It will also influence the speed and sanity-based hunts. The weakness, though, is it makes electrical currents circuit from farther away. So, if you are quite far away from the ghost and your electrical currents or your electrical devices are flickering a lot, but the ghost is nowhere near you, you're probably dealing with a Raiju. Obake. Sometimes never leaves UV. A very small chance to leave a 6-fingered print. UV, though, is guaranteed. The prints will disappear quicker, and it has a 6.66% chance to change models. In the current build of Phasmophobia, though, its UV is kind of bugged. The Mimic. The Mimic has the opportunity to mimic ghost behavior. However, though, it will always leave ghost orbs as an ability, not an evidence. So, the only way for it to be a mimic is if it displays mimic-esque evidence. Spirit box, ultraviolet, freezing temperatures. If you have dots or writing, not a mimic. But if you see orbs and it's exhibiting revenant behavior, it's a mimic. Moroi. The lower your sanity, the faster it will go. Spirit box and Paramike will curse you for faster sanity drain. The only way to get rid of it is through sanity pills or death. And the box is forced evidence. Smudging during a hunt will increase the time before it can kill you from 6 seconds to 12 seconds. Also, fun fact, the Moroi is the only ghost who can exponentially get faster during a hunt. The Moroi can easily be the fastest ghost in the game, but the circumstances in which you need that are impossible to meet, basically. Next up, Diogen, technically pronounced Diogen. It will always know where you are. It will be extremely fast outside of your presence. It hunts at around 40% sanity. And the moment it gets close to you, it will slow down to an absurd degree. How absurd? Even if you're playing with the lowest player speed and the maximum ghost speed, you still will be able to outwalk a Dio. And then finally, Thay. It will start at a young age and will get progressively older during the hunt. The Thay can hunt at 75% sanity. It will be very fast when young and over time gets older. One way you can test for Thay, if you have a Ouija board, you can ask the ghost age at the beginning of the round. Let's say it'll give you 29, and if you notice the Ouija board age goes up at any time, you're dealing with a Thay. On that, there you go. A super basic Phasmophobia guide for beginners. No extra information. No guff, no fluff. A couple other things to note. Fun fact, if you're going for a perfect game, in order to do that, you need to complete all 3 bonus objectives during a hunt, during a contract. You do not need to get a ghost photo unless one of the objectives specifies it's a ghost photo. Also, in regards to bone, you do not need a bone photo for a perfect game, but it is generally helpful considering it's a easy 3-star photo. Another thing to note too is, generally speaking, the difficulties are quite basic. You have amateur. Here's your amateur, here's your intermediate, here's your professional, here's your nightmare, here's your insanity. Generally advised, professional is probably the best case if you are not that comfortable with memorizing ghost behavior, but nightmare will offer the best reward and make the game generally more fun. Other than that, there's your basic Phasmophobia tips. The final tip I'll give you is the most important one. If you are being chased by a ghost, it is important to be crouch running. Now I know what you're going to say. I don't have to. You still can't outrun the ghost without crouch running. But the reason why you crouch run is because, let's say the ghost was, here, and you crouch run behind this table, it helps you break line of sight. Where if you're doing this, the ghost will keep speeding up because you're still in the line of sight. So if you're being chased, make sure you're being crouch run, and you're listening and you're watching for where the ghost is as you loop it around a table, say the kitchen aisle in Tanglewood. Other than that, that's everything I can think of to help you try to get better at Phasmophobia without going too into detail on unnecessary details or going on giant tirades. If you're interested in seeing more, subscribe to the notification button to get notified whenever I upload this video. You can change your mind later on whenever you want. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye!